Hey everyone, it's me, Colleen, and this video is all about my mind and my body and my life 1 year after having a baby. So if that does not interest you, please don't watch this video. It's going to be long and boring, and I'm basically just going to be talking about how my body has changed and how my mind has changed. If you don't know me, my name is Colleen Ballinger. I gave birth to my baby son a little over a year ago, 14 months ago, and I've really enjoyed sharing my experiences with the internet. So my pregnancy, all of the really horrible experiences I had through my pregnancy, it's all documented, it's all out there. I've been really open and raw and honest with you about my experiences because I think it's really important for women to help other women and to share their experiences and educate each other on what can happen, what could happen, and just kind of be there for each other. I don't feel like there is enough content out there to tell girls what really happens to your body and what really happens to your mind when you go through something like pregnancy and childbirth and postpartum and all of that. So this is me explaining to you guys how my body has changed, how my mind has changed, even a year after giving birth, because it's changed quite a lot. Like I said, if that does not interest you, don't watch this video. It's gonna be really long, and it's basically just gonna be me talking about my body and how different it is now than it was prior to getting pregnant. So I guess I will start from the bottom of my body and work my way up to my mind, because my mind has changed probably more than anything else. A lot of mental health talk to come later in this video, but to start off with the bottom half, I can't talk in too much detail because YouTube might flag this video as inappropriate, even though I am only talking scientifically about, well, not scientifically, but I'm talking about just, you know, my parts and my organs. I'm not talking about anything in a sexual way at all, but YouTube could potentially not like me talking about those areas, so I'm gonna kind of skim over that. Basically, I gave birth December 10th, 2018, and I had a natural birth in the sense that it wasn't a C-section. I did have an epidural, so it was not natural in the sense that I didn't use any drugs, but it came out of my area down below. I had a lot of tearing and a lot of ripping, almost the worst case scenario of tears and stitches. I had a very painful recovery. I was in pain for at least 3 months. It was really painful. Also, I don't say that to scare anybody, because I was really scared of childbirth and I loved childbirth. I thought it was really cool. I really enjoyed my experience, and it wasn't as scary as everyone made it sound. Pregnancy was really hard for me and my body, but every woman is different. Every body is different. So don't take my word and my experience as like what would happen to you. So if any woman tells you childbirth is terrible or pregnancy is terrible, that doesn't mean it will be for you. I have a lot of friends who love pregnancy, feel no symptoms. I have a lot of friends who love childbirth. I have a lot of friends who don't like childbirth. Everyone is different, and this is just my experience. That's all I'm talking about, is my experience right now. So don't take anything I say in this video as like how you should recover from pregnancy and birth, and don't take anything that I'm saying as like anything other than it is what my experience has been. But I just find it important that we all share our experiences, because society kind of hushes women from talking about these things, not in like a you're not allowed to talk about it, but just kind of like a ew. Like, I'm sure when I said to you guys I had a lot of stitches down in that area, some people probably were like, ugh. It's not gross. It's actually what our bodies were meant to do. Women's bodies were meant to have babies and feed them from our boobs, and so it's not gross. And I feel like the only reason we think it's gross is because we're told it's gross. And so I think it's important for women to talk about our bodies and what they're made for and what they do, and so that it's not thought of as gross. That way we can talk about it openly and people won't be scared of things like childbirth. People will be like, oh yeah, this is what happens. So anyway, it has been over a year and I don't have any pain anymore in that area, but it doesn't look the same at all. It still looks very tattered, if you will. So that is something that you can get fixed with like surgeries and stuff, but I don't really ever want to have stitches ever again in that area because it was painful. So it just looks kind of like Frankenstein-y. It doesn't look great. So if you're a woman and you experienced that, you're not alone. It happened to me. And so there you go. Moving upwards, because if I talk too much about it, again, I'm scared that YouTube will think this is inappropriate, even though it's not. My stomach. I used to have very tight skin, like it was tight and firm, and now it is not. So my stomach grew a lot when I was pregnant. I showed a lot. My stomach looked huge. A lot of people thought I was having twins. A lot of people thought I was 8 months pregnant when I was only like 6 months pregnant. I had a very big tummy, and the skin stretched a lot, and it's still pretty stretchy, and I will show it to you in a minute. I also have the line down my stomach. Some women get that line, and basically it's where your abs rip apart, not rip apart, but they come apart like this around your stomach. They kind of split in half like that, and where the center of the abs is where this line kind of shows up on a lot of women's stomachs. And mine is still there. It's very faded, but it's kind of like a cool tattoo. Like, I went through something awesome and I made a baby, and so it doesn't bother me. I was insecure about it at first. Some people had made fun of it, and I was insecure and thought it was gross. And then I was like, wait a second, I have this line because I'm growing a human. This is awesome, and anyone who says anything otherwise is a jerk, because this is how my body is, and this line is beautiful. It means that I'm having a baby and I'm growing a baby, so it's awesome. So I still have it, and it doesn't bother me. I don't even think about it, but it's really faint, and I do think it will fade away completely. Something that shocked me was my belly button. My belly button is completely different. I had an innie, and then when I got pregnant, my belly button popped out really quickly, and I had a very pronounced outie belly button, and now it's kind of still an outie belly button. I thought that would go back in. Everyone told me my outie belly button would go back in and then have an innie again. It is an outie belly button, and I was not expecting that at all. So I'm gonna show you my stomach now, so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So how do I do this? All right, so here is my stomach. Basically, I'm gonna pull my things down. All of this is pretty stretchy. Like, I can really stretch this skin quite a bit. I have a lot of extra skin. I don't even think you can really tell. I'll try to get closer. It's like really, like, so much extra skin. I could not do that before I was pregnant at all. There's my marks from pulling on my stomach. See, here's the line. You can see the line from my pregnancy is still there. And you can see my belly button is still kind of like an outie belly button, which, what the heck? I did not think that was gonna happen. That was really shocking, that my belly button kind of stayed an outie. This is where I'm at with my skins, all my skins. On my skin, yes, yes. What I'm about to talk about right now might be kind of difficult for me to talk about because it has to do with body image and weight, and I know that's a really sensitive issue for most girls, and I don't want anyone thinking that I'm being insensitive or talking out of turn. I don't know. So I'm a little nervous to talk about this, but I think it's important. Sorry for the random cut. I had to give the baby a bath and put him to sleep, so I'm back. Hello. One thing a lot of people asked me about was how I lost the weight, and I'm not going to pretend like I worked really hard to get the weight off. I have a very fast metabolism. I always have. I've always been very skinny, and a lot of the weight fell off right after I had the baby. And then I did a Broadway show last summer, and it was a very difficult schedule of 8 shows a week, and I was very nervous and very stressed. And during that time, I lost a lot of weight from the stress of doing the show, and also the exercise, and the walking around Manhattan every day and all that. So I lost a lot of weight during that time too, but I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you that that is why I lost the weight or how I lost the weight, when the reality of the situation is I just have a very fast metabolism. And I think it's really unfortunate that society applauds women who get skinny again or lose the weight from their pregnancy right after having the baby. I think that's really gross and really sad, because there should be no pressure on women at all to lose the baby weight after they give birth. The focus after you have a baby should be on your baby and on your own mental health, and I will get to that in a minute. But I think it's really ridiculous that society has put so much pressure on women to look a certain way after they've literally grown a human being and then pushed it out of a very small hole, or had it surgically cut and removed with a very serious surgery, and people expect you to just snap back, is what they say. So if you know someone who's just had a baby, do not comment on their weight, do not comment on their body, don't compliment anything unless it is just that they are beautiful and amazing and a good mom. And yeah, I hate that there's so much focus on that. It really makes me sad. And every time someone complimented me months after I had the baby on how I got skinny again or snapped back, I understand that people are just trying to be nice and were trying to give me a compliment. But unfortunately, that compliment is continuing this horrible mindset that society has made for us, that women should look a certain way even after they have gone through this huge event in their life that is so intense. No one should be commenting on any woman's body ever, but especially not after they're having a baby. So yeah, just keep that in mind. If you know anyone who's about to have a baby or who has had a baby, or just any woman in general, don't comment on her weight ever. Even if you think it's being complimentary and saying like, oh, look, you lost the baby weight. Like, that should never have any, no one should talk about that. And even though people are saying that as a compliment to me, I don't think that should be a compliment. I think women should be celebrated for whatever their bodies look like after they have a baby. And the fact that people do celebrate skinniness after a baby is born is disappointing, because that should not be the focus ever in life, but certainly not after having a child. So every time someone complimented me with that, that's what I would think about. I'd be disappointed. And also it made me think about my body. I was like, oh, they're noticing my body. Oh, should I be thinking about my body? Like, because all I was focused on was my baby and my mind and my health. And so whenever people complimented my body and the shape of my waist, that just made me go like, oh, should I be focused on that? Should I be thinking about that? I'm not saying I'm mad at people who were trying to be nice and compliment me. I'm just saying that we've been conditioned as a society to celebrate people losing weight after they have a baby, when that is the last thing a woman should be thinking about. Like, I wish I could really put it into perspective for you. Imagine like having a child, like childbirth is really intense and it's really painful and the recovery is long. Like, imagine like a car accident or something where your body gets really messed up and you have stitches everywhere and your organs are all in the wrong place and they have to figure out how to get back where they were, and you're bleeding buckets and buckets and buckets for weeks, and you're tired and your whole body hurts and you can barely walk. On top of that, you're taking care of a new human, trying to keep this person alive, trying to keep this person healthy and safe. A human being is your responsibility. And on top of that, you are exhausted. You are not sleeping at all. And on top of that, you're having mental craziness that is happening in your mind because of all the extra hormones and everything that you've gone through. You're struggling with depression or anxiety or OCD or whatever it is from everything that comes with childbirth and pregnancy and all of that. And then all people care about is how your body looks. Like, that is, it's not great. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. And I know that's a really sensitive topic. I think all women's bodies are beautiful and every woman should be celebrated for however her body looks, especially after having a baby. The focus should be on how incredible she is, that she grew a human and then birthed a human, and no one should be thinking about the shape of her body after she gave birth, unless it's just to say, you look amazing, and it has nothing to do with the size of the waist, but just that that woman is a beautiful woman. Does that make sense? Okay, moving on. My chesticles. So I was really concerned after I had the baby because I had a lot of really dark purple veiny looking lines all over my boobs. I had bruises on my boobs. My boobs just looked really weird, and your nipples change a lot. My boobs look, wow, they look different than before I was pregnant, like vastly different. It's now been 14 months. I still breastfeed my son, not very often. He breastfeeds at night, and sometimes if he's not feeling well throughout the day, he'll do it as a comfort, but he's basically ending his breastfeeding time. And maybe my boobs will change a lot after I'm completely done breastfeeding, but for right now, they look nothing like they did. They're a completely different shape. They're smaller, which is weird. When I first started breastfeeding, my boobs were much bigger, and they've always kind of been bigger, but now they're like smaller and like a totally different shape. Every part of them is a different shape, and I still have a few of those veiny like purple lines on them. I've read some of the moms, after I talked about it in a past video, some moms let me know that those were stretch marks actually. So I don't know if that's true, and if those are stretch marks that will stay there forever or if they'll go away. I don't really know. But yeah, that's where my boobs are at. So they just look totally different. way, way, way different. Everything about them is way different. The only other weird thing that has changed a year after having the baby is I have really bad BO now. I don't know if that's from childbirth and like having a baby, or if that's just me getting older and that's just something that happens. But I've always been able to just put on my deodorant after I shower or in the morning and I'm fine, and I don't ever smell really anything unless I forget to put on deodorant. Now, I don't know why, but I put on deodorant in the morning, and literally if I do anything at all that requires any sort of sweat, I stink like so bad, and I have to reapply my deodorant, I have to take a shower. Like, I don't know why, but my armpits reek, girl, and I don't know if that has to do with this or not. Moving on to mental health. Again, this is another very sensitive topic, so I'll be careful how I talk about this. Something that happens to a lot of women after they give birth is postpartum depression, and I didn't struggle with that. I did experience depression pretty severely while I was pregnant, and I didn't even really know that I did until I gave birth and felt like me again. And I looked back on my pregnancy and I was like, oh, that's what that was. I was depressed. And I also didn't know that you could get depressed. There's postpartum depression, but you can also get like prepartum depression, and I just didn't know that was a thing. So my sadness and my deep hatred for myself and just not wanting to get out of bed in the morning and just crying constantly and just being so miserable and so unmotivated and so sad. I didn't know that that was depression. I just thought I was sad and there was something wrong with me, that I didn't like being pregnant. I felt guilty, that I hated it. So I experienced a lot of depression during my pregnancy, but not after. I felt extreme happiness after I gave birth, but a lot of women don't feel that. A lot of women get really, really depressed, and it's really sad and it's awful. One thing I did struggle with after giving birth, and I'm still struggling with, is postpartum like anxiety and postpartum OCD. I never knew I had OCD until after I had the baby, and I started going to therapy for it, and they were like, yeah, you definitely have this. I never knew that, and OCD comes in lots of different forms, and a lot of people have it, and it affects people in different ways. For me, it affects me in many different areas of my life, not in the way that most people think of OCD. I'm not like washing my hands in a certain number of times. I struggle with something called dermatillomania, and I've talked about it before, but basically it's a skin picking disorder. It is a form of OCD, and it's where you obsessively, aggressively rip at and bite at and pull off chunks of your own skin. So that's really cool. I never struggled with this before I had a baby, and yes, I've always kind of like picked at nervously, like picked at my skin and whatever, but never to the point of what it became. I mean, my fingertips were gone. Like my laptop requires a fingertip to log in, doesn't work for me anymore. Bloody fingertips. Like it was really gross and really painful and really hard, and I didn't even know it was OCD. I didn't even know it was a problem until I started going to therapy for it to try to stop, and they let me know that this could be a part of postpartum, because there's so many hormones going through your body and so many new just chemicals and things that your brain and it might trigger different things, and for me that's what happened. So I still do struggle with it. I don't know, maybe once I stop breastfeeding it'll get better. It has gotten a little bit better. I mean, it was really, really bad for a while, and it's gotten a lot better. I still have pretty disgusting fingers that are usually ripped up and kind of bloody, and it's embarrassing and I don't like it, but it's something I am trying to get a hold of and trying to work on, and maybe it'll get better once I'm done breastfeeding. We'll see. I've also noticed my anxiety getting really bad. I did have a couple of like small anxiety attacks. I get much more anxious than I did prior to having a baby. So my therapist did tell me that I was struggling with that and dealing with that. But my biggest issue is my OCD being just really flared up and really intense, and just caused me to be in a lot of pain, and it was also really embarrassing, and I felt guilt about it, and people just go like, well, why don't you just stop doing that? And it doesn't work like that. I can't. Like, it's I don't know, it's hard to explain and it's hard to understand, so I don't even understand it, and I wish it was something where I could just not rip at the skin and not make my fingers bleed. Trust me, I don't want to do that, but it's just something I'm gonna have to continue to work on. That is my update on life after having a baby a year later. I love being a mom. I cannot express that enough. It is the best thing in the world. It's my favorite thing in the world. And every pain, every stitch, every mental break, everything obviously is so worth it because my son is my everything and he's incredible. And I'm obsessed with him. It's the best. But women go through a lot to have a baby, whether they go through fertility treatments or they adopt or they get pregnant naturally or they have a C-section or they have a water birth at home or if they have a medicated birth at the hospital. Anyway, a woman goes through this, all of it is hard. And we're kind of taught that we're not supposed to talk about the hard stuff because you have to just be grateful that you have a kid. And yes, I can be very grateful and very happy to be a mom and very grateful for my son and also go through hard things. Those things don't have to cancel each other out. I can be so happy and grateful for my son and also express the difficulties of parenting or motherhood or pregnancy or whatever. You know what I mean? Yeah, my body's been through it. It went through it a lot during pregnancy. It was very painful. No day went by that I did not feel excruciating pain my entire pregnancy. So I didn't like it, and that's okay. I love my son and I'm so glad I got to be pregnant and I'm so glad I got to experience that, but it wasn't great. And after having the baby, my body's been through a lot of pain and a lot of weirdness, and I'm still confused by a lot of things in my body since having the baby. It's a lot. It's a very intense experience on your body, and people just don't talk about it, and so I'm talking about it. So I love you guys, and I hope this video informed you of something. I want to reiterate one more time, my experience is not everyone's experience. Everyone's experience is so different, and hopefully in the comment section below you guys will see how different everyone's experiences are. Oh my goodness, like so vastly different. But this is just my personal experience, and what I have gathered from all the different mom experiences is that all of them are a challenging road and difficult, rewarding, but very hard. So be kind to moms because they're going through it. And yeah, that's just my experience. Don't compare yours to mine. Don't think you should be a certain way or shouldn't be a certain way because of mine. Just wanted to throw that out there. Maybe I'll give you an update again in another year, but probably not. Goodbye.